Hey everyone, so this recording I'm actually doing at the end of editing all this stuff. So long story short, I wanted to do a video on a woman named Joanna who goes by the name GrowWithJo. She does fitness videos on YouTube, and basically she is known for being this happy, positive, smiling person. But there's been some videos about her recently from mainly these two women that have been circulating where they're talking about how her videos aren't as positive as people think they are, and they are criticizing her. I originally wanted to do a video on the laziest and most toxic health advocate on YouTube, and I just so happened to see these videos on my recommendeds. So that gives you an idea of where my perspective already was about dangers with health, and seeing how they were responding was just really overboard in comparison to what they were actually criticizing her for. So that's why I'm here today. We're just going to go through both of their videos. It's going to be a two-parter. This first part is going to be centered around FrumpyFit, and she was the original person to do a video on Joe. I would have left it alone. I wasn't even going to do a video on FrumpyFit. But then a few months later came UnnaturalVegan, who was upset that FrumpyFit's video didn't get much support. And so she's trying to actually reignite a flame that wasn't really there. It's like they're here to really make sure that people see Joe as this misleading person. And everything that they said had barely any sort of facts behind it, let alone the fact that they were hypocrites and contradicting themselves the whole time. So right before we get into it, I just want you guys to know that I have a hard time editing. I know that people suggest all sorts of stuff like writing scripts and all these things. You can watch this video if you want to know why I didn't do that. Basically, I went through the whole thing, reacted raw, and I usually will then add in edits as I go of things that I want to say that's extra or things that I noticed while editing. And that's what works best for me. So I appreciate the suggestions, but I've tried a lot of them. So with all that being said, I suck at transitions. We're just going to get right into this and let's go through these videos. After I give you guys just some context of what it is like without any commentary, I'm going to go back and go through the whole thing with my own input.
What's up? Welcome back. I'm FrumpyFit. I'm an online weight loss coach, and I wanted to share my thoughts on GrowWithJo today. Now, she started popping up on my TikTok For You page, and I immediately saw red flags. Then I went to her YouTube channel, more red flags. I clicked on her video with almost 2 million views on how she was able to reduce her lower belly fat. And a lot of her tips were either general fat loss or specific to people who had just been pregnant. And that's my overall issue with this creator, but also all the other creators who do this clickbait, misleading type strategy for their content. Now, first, there are 3 things that I want to touch on related to GrowWithJo's, the clickbaitiness, the titles and the thumbnails, to make sure that you guys aren't being misled by her content. The first one is spot reduction. I see a lot of her thumbnails that show, like, for example, do this every morning to lose flabby arms, do this every morning to lose back fat and bra bulge. You cannot spot reduce fat. There's no diet or exercise that you can do that's going to target a specific area over others. You could add muscle size or muscle tone. The second thing that I have a problem with is the claim of fat burn during some of these workouts that she shares. And in the thumbnail, we see fat burn. Beginners do this every day to burn fat. There's basically 2 primary energy sources that your body uses: carbohydrates and fat. I'm not sure if she's talked about it. They'll claim that by being in a specific heart rate range, you're burning fat versus burning carbohydrates. That's technically true, but burning fat versus losing fat are 2 different things. For these thumbnails and the clickbaitiness of it is that I see lots of claims of calories burnt: 600 calories, 380 calories, 560 calories. The amount of calories that somebody burns is impacted by a lot of different things. I've seen her look at her watch and say, I burned this many calories. These are not that accurate. So basing these workouts off of a reading that she may have gotten from some sort of fitness wearable device is also a little bit misleading. I'm all for consumers of content to be responsible for the content they're consuming and like doing a little bit of due diligence on their own to know that maybe this stuff is misleading. But I also don't agree with the idea that like it's all on the consumer. And a huge argument from the Ting people: oh, she's addressed this, but you can't expect everybody who watches all these other videos to have watched that other video. And of course, I've also heard that she has a disclaimer in the description, blah, blah, blah. It's not readily available. It's not clear. There's definitely a difference between ethical clickbaiting and non-ethical clickbaiting, but I don't think that line is necessarily drawn clearly in the sand. I think it's a bit grayer and unclear. How much of the responsibility do you feel like falls on the creator versus the consumer? I genuinely want to know, because like I said, I put myself in an ethical cage. What do you see from a creator where you're like, I don't appreciate that?
All right, so There's a whole lot that we need to go through to deal with that. I'm going to cut down whatever I played as much as possible because we're going to go through it again anyway. It's just to give you an idea of what she was talking about and where she was coming from. So on the surface of her video, for some people it can seem like, oh, well, she's like genuinely concerned, but there's so many problems with it. For one, let's go look at her thumbnail. This is her thumbnail. GrowWithJo is misleading you. What's the truth? Question mark, question mark. And then she puts this face of Joe in the thumbnail, which obviously looks like an oopsie face, like, oh no. And then her face is like, what? Like she's just so shocked or so intense about what's happening. And from what you've seen, what she talked about wasn't that big of a deal because she was addressing what everyone does on YouTube. So the big reason why her thumbnail is misleading is because her video is not about Joe. So you misled there because Joe is not misleading you. Everyone on YouTube is misleading you. And to make it seem like it's just her is misleading. Secondly, the face that she's using of Joe is from a thumbnail where she's saying, oh my God, I did this workout. It was so intense. Like I made all this progress. Like it's one of those kind of wow. Like it's a positive thing. It's like, you need to try this. Why would you clip her face then and put it in a separate context? She wants to talk about how what Joe is doing is dangerous, and I'll get into that later. She's basically calling it dangerous, but you're going to take a woman's face, put it in your thumbnail to draw people's attention to it. Like you're literally using her face to then expose herself. You know, that's grimy, but you want to criticize her and act like you're not doing the exact same thing. It's completely hypocritical. So when you look at the comments, this is what people had to say, and we're only going to go through a few, but I think there is a reason that Joe has so many subscribers. People get results. I get results. It's called consistency and the right diet. There is no magic pill. And then you can read the rest of this comment if you want. Let me click read more. And she says, if you are so concerned, contact her and discuss your concerns with her. Maybe she would appreciate that more than making a video about why she is so misleading. And it's like, it's true because this woman has 100K subs. She didn't say anything about, oh, I tried to reach out to her first. No, you wanted to make an exposure video of her without calling it one. That people have to do the whole, this is an analysis or these are just my thoughts. I'm just concerned. It's an exposure video because you're literally putting the spotlight on her and you're trying to reveal something about her that you think people aren't realizing, all in the name of justice and morality and self-righteousness. More comments. It says, I love seeing the response of this video. Glad to see everybody defending Joe. She's great and has made someone who absolutely hates exercise with her entire soul to actually move, and I appreciate her for that. Do what works for you. Easy to do, no equipment required. Her energy, love her. And this is exactly what I said at the beginning. This is what made her popular. She is providing the thing that women have been wanting for years. If you've ever talked to any woman, fat, skinny, in shape, out of shape, they want this kind of a workout and they didn't think it was possible. And she found a way to do it. And she did it for herself because if you don't know, she was pregnant, she had a son, and she gained a lot of weight and then had to lose all that weight back off. And she kind of started at zero because she wasn't really working out. So she got out of shape. This gave her a lens into the experience that a lot of people are facing who have a lack of motivation. And that's why she's called GrowWithJo, because she even said, I'll play it here.
I can still remember the first time that I worked out again postpartum. It felt like the most challenging thing I'd ever done. It somewhat hurt my ego about like what I knew about fitness and felt like I could do. A lot of the exercises that I tried to do, I like wasn't able to do them, or like it was almost like my body had to like completely refigure out how to work out. Even though I was healed from my C-section and my midwife had cleared me for exercise, I felt like I couldn't do it. Like I had to start again, and I felt defeated before I even really started.
In order to live up to FrumpyFit's expectations, Joe would have to have so much anxiety that that type of a mindset would hinder her from being able to make the content that she makes. That's why someone like FrumpyFit doesn't make the kind of content that Joe makes. I personally don't like the super positive attitude. I have my gripes with it, but it doesn't change the fact that for certain things in the world, that's what it takes for people to do what they need to do. And since what Joe is doing is pretty much harmless, or it's like, yeah, I don't really agree with her perspective, but she should still be allowed to exist the way that she does without all this ridicule. So she realized that she was doing things that were wrong, and she's now trying to do more. And what this woman didn't mention, because she really didn't look into this stuff, she just got triggered and then commented on it, is that Jo listens to her commenters. You'll see in her video, she's like, hey, don't have to worry, this doesn't take up a lot of space. Or hey, if you got bad knees, this isn't going to affect your knees much. If you can't stand for very long, I have workouts where you can do the whole thing while sitting down. So she's doing all these videos catering to the concerns that her viewers have. So for her to do this, to craft these exercises specifically to these people's needs, is why they support her so much, because they're considering her as much as she's considering them. And that's why they're defending her in the comment section en masse. But just look at the way that they're defending her. Like, they're being pretty positive about it overall, because they could have been a lot meaner. Here it says, you can uplift yourself without using someone else as leverage. I've been doing her workouts consistently for 2 weeks and I've lost 15 pounds so far. I am in a calorie deficit, but it's just a form for exercise that I enjoy. And that's why I think she is popular, because she is providing a form of movement that people enjoy. And that's another part of it. It is enjoyable, but we can talk about that more after. I've been doing Jo's videos for 6 months, lost 60 pounds. Please tell me this video is a prank, because what the heck? Her videos literally help a lot of us. We love her. Quote unquote clickbaits and whatnot. Thank you. I think her positivity, encouragement, and honest vulnerability make her workouts approachable, and they inspire people to try. And this is coming from a physician. You can read the rest of this. I'm gonna click the more. Please talk about the fit influencers all over TikTok and Instagram who got their bodies done, charge you hundreds of dollars for workouts and meal plans that are quite frankly unrealistic. More so the workouts, and sell you the damn dream. GrowWithJo is a relatable woman who is a mom and gives her subscribers actual hope and proof that moms and many others can lose weight. She disclaimers, and she's very well educated, unlike a majority of these influencers. And that's the thing. Please go after them, not Jo. Rather than use her for clickbait, you could have reached out and did a collab to form and educate her and just come together. The reason why they're saying this is because Jo's entire promotion is about uplifting women. So she's garnered a fan base centered around doing the same. Well, let me tell you something very simple. I had breast cancer surgery 3 months ago, and I started GrowWithJo 1 month ago, and my life has changed for the better after doing her beginner workouts. Like, these aren't paid for people. These are regular, everyday people commenting this. How can anyone hate such a beautiful, positive woman is beyond me. So I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to show comments throughout this video. If I do, you will be seeing them at this point. But I'll just like put them up if you want to read any. You don't have to. But it's just to show you overwhelmingly how many people she has positively affected, and their voices deserve to be heard. So this is the kind of response that this woman got because of what I'm going to go through now, which is her video in a different context.
Welcome. Hey, what's up? Welcome or welcome back. I'm FrumpyFit. I'm an online weight loss coach, and I wanted to share my thoughts on GrowWithJo today.
So the first thing she says is that she's an online weight loss coach. So she is quite literally Joanna's competition. If you look at just the video here on the side, it says the best weight loss workout routine. Okay, so keep that in mind.
Because it's just brewing in my brain and I have a lot to say. Now, she started popping up on my TikTok For You page and I immediately saw red flags.
So let's look up that word, red flag. A red flag is used as a warning of danger, okay? And that's why I said she's implying that what Jo is doing is dangerous. So I'm not exaggerating.
Then I went to her YouTube channel, sorted her videos by most popular, more red flags.
So she sorted it by most popular. She wanted to see what people liked the most. And again, you have to think about what her career is. Her whole career is her trying to tell people how to be healthy. But since she is so obsessed about it, to see someone whose most popular videos have quote unquote misleading things in the thumbnail, it then makes her feel angry that she's doing all this work to be so righteous and fair about it, while somebody who's cutting corners in her mind is getting way more success, as if that's the reason why Jo is so successful.
To her YouTube channel, sorted her videos by most popular, more red flags. And then I planned to do a reaction video to one of her videos because I had never watched one before. I clicked on and actually
And you want to know what's so harmful about doing that by looking at someone's most popular videos? It's that you're not looking at their newest videos. What if those are things that she's not doing that much now? Let's look at the type of thumbnails that she has here for most popular. This one's from 3 years ago. This one's from a year ago. This one's from a year ago. Up here, which you can't really see, these are the shorts. This is 4 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. These are the ones that she points out, by the way. She shows the arm one. She shows this one about like getting abs. She shows this back fat one. She shows the calorie burns. They're all from over a year ago. Now let's look at Joe's most recent videos. So these are videos from a year ago, okay? This is far before she did her video, which means that these dates are before she put up her video, because you can see here it says 11 months ago, a year ago. So this is the kind of stuff she would have been seeing right when she was doing her response, quote unquote. When I hover over them, they have like a little videos. I'm gonna try to point with like the edits in my editing program. So you have a gospel dance party, cardio dance workout, Tabata in 10 minutes for arms, EDM dance, toning your legs, beginner fat burn, serious sweat, knee-friendly hit. Back to back. None of these are doing the calorie thing she was talking about, the like Photoshop stuff. It's none of that. And the title says, do this every morning to lose fat and get abs. That sounds a lot more accurate to what the woman was talking about in her videos than the old stuff that she was showing. Fit test, which is from light to the extreme, mood boost dance workout, Bruno Mars dance party, Tabata 5,000 steps, arms 2-in-1, dumbbell shred, 30-minute intense burn, intense cardio, low impact, dance workout, drop inches, stretch for 15 minutes, 12-minute fat burn, which is mostly legs and booty workouts, country dance party, beginner abs, do this before bed, strong core, lean arms, unpredictable full body cardio, intense, black pink intense dance party, best morning cardio routine for beginners, fat burn, intensity red, you versus you, workout for women, exercise for women with PCOS to balance your hormones, morning 5,000 step lower belly burn. And now we're at 6 months on this one. So you can obviously see that I read every single one out to you that she would have been seeing at the time. And the only one that fits the criteria to some degree that she was complaining about is this one right here. Because in the thumbnail, it says fat burn. And she's like, well, you can't just burn fat. That's not exactly how it works. So that's it. The rest of them are very accurate. They're not all clickbaity. And she has a way of doing these really good thumbnails because she just found a new way to format. If you look at these older ones, she's got all this text all over the screen and all these visuals. It's kind of chaotic. But now if you look at her newer stuff, she's zooming in on her face more. She's highlighting things more. She's using actually less detail. She's blurring the background, taking out the color and everything. She might put a little border around. And then with her newest video, she's like right in the camera because she realized, let me zoom in even further and it'll be even more eye-catching. And she just has a color in the background. So all of this that I'm showing you is what she did on her own, not because she was getting criticized by that woman. All of these for the past 9 months ago and stuff, that was her own idea to change the format of how she thumbnails her videos. So what I'm not understanding is why you would want to look at her most popular videos and criticize her for things that happened 1 to 3 years ago. And you dare to say you're not using clickbait. And you want to know what the funniest part is? Does anything in this picture look familiar to you at all? You see anything that you saw earlier? It's the face that you saw in her thumbnail. I told you. I didn't even have to see what video it was from because I've seen her thumbnails. This is her saying, wow, this is intense. Like, you're gonna burn all this fat. And of course, she would take the one thumbnail that just barely slightly could possibly be considered misleading because it says fat burn in it. You know how passive aggressive that is? This whole time, you're like, nope, not going to use any of those, but she said fat burn. Let me take this one and take it out of context and make her look like she did a whoopsie. You know what you have to do that? You know how long it takes for you to scroll through people's thumbnails and find the right face? For her to be like, which one am I going to use? It's manipulative. When she could have spent all that time scrolling and trying to concoct this perfect thumbnail, she could have just messaged Joe, just like the fucking commenter said. So yes, FrumpyFit, you are misleading people in your own thumbnail. You need to check yourself. All right, so now that whole breakdown of her thumbnail is over, let's get back into this.
Her videos by most popular, more red flags. And then I planned to do a reaction video to one of her videos because I'd never watched one before. I clicked on and actually recorded myself reacting to her video with almost 2 million views on how she was able to reduce her lower belly fat. And I mean, in summary, the content, the actual advice that she was giving was not bad. It was just lacking a little bit of context, and I feel like the video was mistitled. She was a new mom at the time, and a lot of her tips were either general fat loss or specific to people who had just been pregnant or recently been pregnant. And that's my overall issue with this creator, but also all the other creators who do this clickbait, misleading type strategy for their content. Now,
she said she's doing a strategy as if like all her videos are like that or something. Every now and then putting some clickbait in your videos is pretty tame for what people typically see on YouTube. So you just said that she was a new mom at the time and you're upset with her for, let's just go look at the video, okay? By the way, this video was January 7th, 2021. And it has 2 million views. So you remember that video that I told you FrumpyFit did? The best weight loss workout?
what's up? It's your girl.
Her video came out after and it only got 95,000 views. So understand that she did this whole video explaining to people all this information about, in all caps, the best weight loss workout routine. And it got a fraction of the views of a video by a new mom who simply went through some of the things she did to work on herself and her health while not even being completely accurate, and exponentially outdid her.
You click on this video, you want to know how I went from looking like this right here to looking like this right here. We're going to be talking about how I lost my mommy pouch, whatever you want to call it, C-section pouch, the fat that just kind of like hangs out on the bottom of your stomach. The rest of your body is looking like all fleek, getting all toned out, getting all tight, getting all but on your belly is just kind of like sticking there, staying the same. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the things that I've been doing over the last 8 months to basically bring that fat down to pretty much nothing.
So she goes through all those different things, but I'm going to link it in the description. But already you can see that her charisma is just so much better than that other woman. I mean, even in her video, this is how she's talking.
What's up? It's your girl FrumpyFit. If you don't know who I am, I'm an online weight loss coach who's dedicated to calling out all.
Already at the beginning, just like no energy whatsoever. She literally feels like a coach. She feels like some sort of teacher or something who's going to sit down and teach the class. All right, everybody, no talking. Nobody's going to connect with someone who's like that. But with Jo, she just comes out there. It's like, look, I'm just going to tell you guys what's going on, what I did to lose weight, my mommy pooch. That already relates to mothers. There's just so much more emotional connection going on. And we're talking about a group of people, women, who are in need of an emotional connection because these are women who need to get healthy. And any health advocate who knows what the they're talking about will tell you that you have to get your mind right before you get your body right. And part of getting your mind right is being mentally well and more receptive to that kind of a lifestyle. So for you to have this influencer who's saying that they're going to help you, then open up to you about their life and just kind of really feel like an actual person sitting in front of you, that already allows you to have a more open mind to whatever they're going to tell you. And so yes, in the wrong hands, that could be dangerous, but this is someone who's clearly been helping people to lose weight. So it just enhanced what she was doing already that much more. And that's why she got 2 million plus views.
First, there are 3 things that I want to touch on related to GrowWithJo's content, the clickbaitiness, the titles and the thumbnails specifically. There are 3 things that I think need to be addressed to make sure that you guys aren't being misled by her content. The first one is spot reduction.
What are they being misled by? What are you about to make sure that they don't do? Remember that in the comments, they're saying, I tried her workouts and it worked for me.
I see a lot of her thumbnails that show, like, for example, do this every morning to lose flabby arms.
When I first saw this thumbnail, I immediately knew it was photoshopped. And yes, to say that this is obvious photoshopping is a legitimate argument to make. She has the same headphones in her ears with the same headband, with the same hairstyle, and the same clothes. Like, obviously she did that on the same day and just photoshopped it. It's the same lighting. Like, it's the same pose. And she clearly doesn't have that arm fat in any of her other videos. It says, do this every morning to lose flabby arms. That to me, when I saw it, registered as, oh, this is like a visual, like your arms look like this and they will look like this when you do this every morning. I'm just gonna end it there for now.
With what I can only assume is like a photoshopped or somehow manipulated image of her on the same exact day, the same exact outfit, with some extra hang here in the arm, and then it's gone. The other one I'm looking at here, do this every morning to lose back fat and bra bulge with a circle on like some fat on the back area, and then it's gone.
Remember that that's from 3 years ago. Like, what are you doing, lady? You know, I think that she's problematic for 3 years ago making a clickbaity thumbnail that got 5 million views while I'm only sitting here getting 100.
Bulge with a circle on like some fat on the back area, and then it's gone in the thumbnail. Now, you cannot spot reduce fat. Spot reduction means losing fat from a specific area of the body. This is impossible outside of medical or like surgical solutions for that. It's just, there's no diet or exercise that you can do that's going to target a specific area over others. What's going to happen is you have to be in a calorie deficit to encourage and provoke the weight loss, and then your body actually decides where you're losing it from. Everybody has different fat storage patterns. Like your arm area may be a more problem area for you than it might be for somebody else. And that means somebody could lose that earlier in their fat loss journey or later in their fat loss journey.
Everyone knows that when they first start working out, they lose pounds. If you haven't been working out for a long time and then you start, you drop weight fast. And so that means that since a lot of people who are watching her videos are people who are beginners, that's why she has so many beginner workouts, that means that they're gonna lose pounds at first. So if you're losing that much weight that fast, like losing, 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, you're gonna see 9 times out of 10 reduction in your arms, regardless of what you're doing, because you're getting smaller just in general. So regardless of what kind of facts she wants to nitpick and correct on, it doesn't change the fact that a lot of people who work out for the first time lose a lot of weight in the very beginning. And what would you then do as a content creator to try to get people to start working out? If you tell them, hey, just do this quick little 10-minute thing every morning to lose weight, they're obviously going to start working out, and they're going to see the weight loss since they're beginners. They're going to be like, oh my God, it really is helping me to lose weight in my arms. And then that lures them into doing more of your workouts because they're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose weight doing this. This is happening. It's happening immediately. And yeah, they may not know why it's happening, but it's working. And that's what matters the most. But that's what she's skipping over entirely. If it's helping, why is it wrong for them to not have all the information? Well, there's more to be said about it, but let's continue her video.
And there's not a lot that you can do to change that. You could add muscle size or muscle tone to that area that might help change the appearance of it, but you're not decreasing the fat mass in that area. And I think it's irresponsible to claim that you can do so.
Let me just tell you guys something that's clearly beyond her scope of rationality. It is a colloquial term. Colloquial means used in ordinary or familiar conversation, not formal or literary. The reason why this is so important to take note of is because even if you know that what you're saying isn't the accurate word or the accurate description, if it gets people the results that you wanted them to get from using the accurate terms, then what's the harm?
And if you want to hear me talk about toning, because I use that in quotes, I would definitely watch this Pilates video.
So she's like, oh my God, like if you guys just want to watch more of my videos as I expose this woman, like go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna plug the truth. Look, the truth. I'm giving you guys all this truth in all my videos.
I have a whole section where I kind of break down toning. The second thing that I have a problem with is the claim of fat burn during some of these workouts that she shares. For example, 30-minute mood boost hit weight loss workout, and in the thumbnail we see fat burn.
I told you she had an issue with the whole fat burning thing. So that is why she justified taking that face from her. She's like, well, it was a misleading thumbnail, so.
Or a video from 4 months ago. Beginners do this every day to burn fat. So there's basically 2 primary energy sources that your body uses, carbohydrates and fat. And you may have heard creators talking about it, I'm not sure if she's talked about it, but they'll claim that by being in a specific heart rate range, you're burning fat versus burning carbohydrates. That's technically true, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything over the long period of time. Burning fat versus losing fat are 2 different things. You could be burning tons of fat in a day, but not actually losing any body fat off the scale if your strategy isn't in place to encourage the actual fat loss. For example, if you're doing lots of workouts that keep you in that fat burn heart rate range, but you're eating at calorie maintenance or a surplus, you could be burning tons of fat, but you won't lose any body fat. And you may have heard creators talking about it, I'm not sure if she's talked about it, but they'll claim.
What kind of exposure video is this? I'm not sure if she talked about it. Okay, well, let's look it up. So I'm thinking the best way to search this is I'm gonna type GrowWithJo story fat burn, because she's telling a story. I don't want it to be confused with her workout videos. And yeah, And so what do you know? The very first thing to pop up is the 8 biggest fat loss mistakes to avoid. Science and personal experience. I wonder what that's about. And then right under is the video she showed earlier, which was how to reduce lower belly fat. Learn from my experience.
Hey honeys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different. Follow along video posting. If you are new to this channel, I usually post workout videos.
These are the little clickbaity thumbnail videos, so this is an old ass video.
Follow along videos. Today's video is going to be a little bit about fitness and nutrition, and I'm going to be talking. So get ready to spend a little bit of time with me. So today's video is all about,
again, already more charismatic than she was in any of her content.
What's up? It's your girl FrumpyFit. If you don't know who I am, I'm an online weight loss coach.
So get ready to spend a little bit of time with me. So today's video is all about the 8 mistakes that I made when trying to lose weight. When I corrected them, it became so much easier for me to lose weight. It was like, how did I not do these? Everybody goes through a learning curve. I went through a learning curve, and I'm hoping that these 8 tips are gonna help you guys either lose weight, reach your goals, whatever you're looking to do in your health and fitness life, and that these tips will help you while you are at home.
I'm gonna link this video in the description rather than show you everything she talks about, but I'm just gonna go through it and see if she mentions anything about fat burning or like fat stuff.
The first mistake that I made was having a high carb, sugary breakfast. If you're feeding yourself high sugar, if you're not using it right away, is to have a high protein breakfast. Mistake number 2, not drinking enough water. Fiber in them, I would go for enough fiber. Having sugary juices and having fruit juice.
I'm inserting this real quick. After I finished recording, I showed Jo talking in her video, then I said some stuff, and then I showed FrumpyFit's video in comparison, and FrumpyFit went through all the things that Jo went through. So I'm deciding now to cut everything up where I mix clips from Jo's video, me pointing out that it's the same thing as in FrumpyFit's video, and then showing FrumpyFit's video adjacent to the comments that Jo made will help you to follow along more with the comparison than me speaking about it as it's happening. So if you're wondering why the edits are a little bit weird, then that's why. And she doesn't go into all the sciencey technical terms of it, but she covers everything that that woman said.
Allowing myself to just have whatever I wanted, eat whatever I wanted, and then just be like, oh, I'll burn it off later, or my workout is going to be burning this many calories, so I'll be able to eat whatever I want.
You could be burning tons of fat in a day, but not actually losing any body fat off the scale if your strategy isn't in place to encourage the actual fat loss. For example, if you're doing lots of workouts that keep you in that fat burn heart rate range, but you're eating at calorie maintenance or a surplus, you could be burning tons of fat, but you won't lose any body fat.
Instead of eating to lose weight, which is eating whole foods, having proteins, high protein foods, having lots of leafy greens, lots of vegetables. If you're gonna be eating whatever, you're gonna be eating your Chick-fil-A, you're gonna be eating your McDonald's, if you're gonna be eating stuff like that, try not to have it on a consistent basis. Try to really be mindful of eating enough protein, so having at least 1 portion of protein per meal, and then having leafy greens, having vegetables that are going to help you up your fiber intake and also give you those micronutrients that you need. The vitamins and the minerals are so important. Mistake number 6, not sleeping enough. Trim and drinking coffee or tea. Make sure not loading it up with cream. Sun is getting in my eyes. Just 1 second. Make sure that you're not loading it up with cream. My 8th and final mistake that I made was only doing cardio to lose weight.
You could be burning tons of fat in a day, but not actually losing any body fat off the scale if your strategy isn't in place to encourage the actual fat loss. For example, if you're doing lots of workouts that keep you in that fat burn heart rate range, but you're eating at calorie maintenance or a surplus, you could be burning tons of fat, but you won't lose any body fat.
And again, I kind of said this earlier, but like that thought that I could eat whatever I want during the day and then go do my workout, and say I ate 2,000 calories, I could go do a 2,000 calorie workout or cardio session and burn all that off. This is not the efficient way to lose weight, my friends. The better and more efficient way to lose weight and to see your body change and transform is to build a little bit of lean muscle.
She's talking about muscle tone.
There's no diet or exercise that you can do that's going to target a specific area over others. What's going to happen is you have to be in a calorie deficit to encourage and provoke the weight loss, and then your body actually decides where you're losing it from. You could add muscle size or muscle tone to that area that might help change the appearance.
And I don't mean getting bulky like a bodybuilder or looking like a man. I'm talking about getting that lean tone look by working on exercises that you can either do with your body weight or with weights, and you can challenge your muscles so that one, you're burning calories while you're doing it. Two, you're going to be burning calories after you do your workout because of that afterburn effect. Try these HIIT workouts if you guys want some HIIT workouts. Look, check these ones out. Three, you're building muscle. So muscle requires more energy to maintain.
HIIT workouts are going to bring you probably into the higher heart rate category range, and that's actually going to burn more carbs than fat. So that's actually probably not true at all.
And so to maintain that muscle, your metabolism spikes up. So that means you can have more calories and stay at the same weight, or you could eat the same amount and lose weight. Does that make sense?
So you could do a workout in a calorie deficit that burns lots of fat, but then your body can just later use more carbohydrates. And the other side of that coin is if you do a workout that burns lots of carbs because you're in a higher heart rate zone, your body will just use fat later. And so over a 24-hour period in the scope of your actual life, not just looking at heart rate zones and workouts in a vacuum, it doesn't make much of a difference.
She's talking about how you can't just do cardio to lose the weight.
I used to think that cardio used to be my saving grace. It's the only thing that's going to help me lose weight.
So you shouldn't go into an exercise with the need to burn as much fat as possible. And even if you are in a calorie deficit, your body is not like this machine that is going to always react a specific way to one stimuli or one input from your environment.
When really lifting weights, eating right, sleeping right, and using all these tools to really aid myself in my weight loss journey was the true answer.
And of course that woman addressed it already by saying, oh, well, you can't just say that in one video because they might not have watched it. But that's a whole separate topic. The point is she did talk about it, and that's worth noting. They're just two completely different styled videos. Again, it's boring because then she gets into all these technical terms and stuff. Well, you need to know this and this and that, and it can work this way. And if you think this isn't going to happen with you. And it makes some people feel like they're an idiot. And it's obvious that FrumpyFit wants to come across in a more charismatic way because, again, there's that clip where she says, "What's up? It's your girl, FrumpyFit."
What's up? It's your girl.
There's no person on this planet who talks like that who isn't trying to have some sort of connection with their audience. So that's another way that she's her direct competition. But the point is, if you just look at her videos, I mean, for one, it was just a whole snore. Like, this is why she's not as viewed as Joe is, because it's just boring. Everything's boring. The big difference is that Joe actually makes herself vulnerable, telling people what her own mistakes were, things that she learned from the hard way. So that lets people know that she's not perfect, she's not better than them, she isn't giving them this lecture, she isn't their teacher. That's the whole point of saying grow with Joe. Whereas FrumpyFit is just she's just going through all this information that no average person wants to hear when they're first trying to lose weight. And that's what she doesn't understand, because I don't know if she talks to people who on the regular, like strangers, people who I'll never even see again. I'll literally tell them, hey, I just want to pick your brain. And I ask them for details. I'll ask them why they say the things that they say, why they feel the way that they feel about things, just to learn more. So oftentimes people will talk about how there's just way too much information out there and they don't know what to listen to. Not only when it comes to weight loss, but when it just comes to opinions in general and information in society. They're like, how do you know what's right or what's wrong? There's so many opinions out there. So that's a big concern that people have, where when you overload them with information, they will get overwhelmed and just want to drop the whole thing and move on. They're like, screw it, I don't want to lose weight anymore. It's too much. I'm never gonna be able to keep track of all this stuff. It's just too much. And she doesn't get that. And one piece of advice that people give all the time on TikTok, and it's advice that actually works, is that they'll tell you to add something on one at a time. And even Joe has done this herself. If I can get the video clip, I'll put it in here right now. The saddest thing is that the video clip is the same video that FrumpyFit was criticizing.
The second thing that really helped me is not trying to do everything at once. I started at first just focusing on walking every day. That gave me permission to feel like I did it. I got myself outside today. I went for a little walk, and you know what? I feel great about it. And then I would build on that. After I got my walk down pat, I'd be like, okay, my breakfast is always going to be healthy. My breakfast is always going to be on point. So I had my walking and my breakfast, and as the weeks went by, I would add another thing and add another thing and add another thing, and wait until my body and my mind were used to it, adjust to it, so that I was building a lifestyle around the goals that I had. It wasn't just, you know, I was going out of my way to do like 30 minutes exercise here, to eat straight, cut out all sugars, cut out all bad things. No, it was like, you know, I'm gonna give myself grace and I'm gonna add things, I'm gonna layer them slowly. And I think that's something that we often miss on our fitness journeys. We often try to just like do everything at once. Choose one thing. Focus on one thing. You'll get there. I promise you'll get there. If you keep putting in the consistent effort, if you have that heart, if you're positive about yourself, you feel good about yourself, it will happen. I promise you, okay?
And you know, FrumpyFit's like, oh, well, they can't just mention it one time. She's mentioned it more than once.
My final tip for you is to stop trying to rush it. Your goals will come, you will reach them, don't you worry. If you stay consistent, it's all about layering habits. The only way that I was able to see major weight loss goals was to layer habits, focus on one thing at a time. And as you build those habits, they're gonna become like second nature to you. And you're gonna be like, wow, this is much easier than I thought. I don't have to go to extremes to lose weight. I don't have to, you know, push my limits and eat bland foods all the time. I can enjoy what I eat. I can enjoy movement, and you don't have to rush it.
And again, she talks about consistency all the time, so she's technically mentioned it endless times, but back to whatever I was saying. So when you add one thing at a time, you can ease yourself into that information. And that is something that factually, scientifically works for the human brain. So she's upset that Joe isn't doing the opposite of that and overloading people with factual information, which again, scientifically will drive them away from working out. So do you want them to get healthy or not? Again, keep in mind that she herself has made a video saying this, which means that she knows about it.
Some of you are probably thinking, 5 minutes? I'm gonna start with 5 minutes? What is that gonna do? If I'm only doing 5-10 minutes in my first week, I wanna see results now. Like, how is that gonna help me make progress? What would you have to say to them?
I would say do that 5-minute workout and then see what else you can do, because you might be surprised. You will likely have a mood boost, which I like to say, you know, you do the short workout, you get the mood boost, and then you know what? You might do 20 minutes more. And now you've done almost 30 minutes. Don't knock it till you try it.
Yes.
The 5 minutes, it's not a rule. You can do more than 5 minutes. But if you're a total beginner, if it's a small goal, that means you can hit it faster and then you can move on, you know, to your next goal.
Joe knows that this is how people's brains work. So she's like, well, how can I get them to lose weight without overloading them? If I can lead them into doing the workout and then they see that it works, then they'll have enough interest to look into more. And when it doesn't work as much, then they'll look into more because they see it working for all these other women. I'm going to keep putting up content to show this stuff to people. And if you look at her workouts at the beginning of some of them, like she says this on a regular. I'll just show you some clips. So after editing a large portion of this video, I kept coming across her saying the same things over and over again in these different workouts. And so I was like, well, let me just click on random stuff that's being recommended from her channel on the side and see if she brings up these type of things often. And she does. Almost every video I clicked on, except for literally like one, she was referencing these things very quickly, but she was still referencing that the consistency is the most important thing. As I already said, that's like a catchphrase of hers. So I'm just going to give you guys like a little reel to show you that she didn't just mention it in one video. She doesn't just show you a workout and give you no information. So here we go.
If you're unable to do any of the exercises, it's okay. Just keep going, just keep stepping. We don't need to do the exercise. Our goal today is to keep our heart rate up, keep that calorie burn elevated, and to feel amazing afterwards. Now, this is the first workout of our 12-week series, 12-minute workouts. This is to show that you don't need to be working out hours a day in order to get an effective workout in. On my journey of losing 50 pounds after I gave birth to my son, I found it really challenging to lose that midsection, but when I started walking, when I started moving my body and getting consistent, that's when I started to see true and lasting results. Today's workout is meant to keep your heart rate up, to get your metabolism boosted, to get you feeling amazing, and just for you to have some fun with us.
Hey guys, I'm Kira, and I do work out every single day, but these workouts are awesome to do if you work from home, if you need to get your steps in, if you want to burn some extra calories. It's a lot of fun. You'll get a good sweat on. And if you guys are looking for some more strength-based workouts, you can find them in the GrowWithJo app and come train with me.
Just follow along with me. If any of the exercises are a little too challenging, just keep walking. Our goal is to get our steps in today and keep our heart rate elevated. so we stay in that fat burning zone. You're gonna see amazing results from this workout, but you gotta stay consistent to see true and lasting results. Our focus is on consistency, not necessarily just the time of the day.
So you're acting like she didn't explain any of these things, and she did, and you're acting like she doesn't talk about it much, and she does. Like, what's your problem? And anybody who doesn't know that, you say that, yeah, they should be a little bit responsible to do research. No, you should be very responsible to research things that you're doing to your body. So I would say that the majority of the responsibility is on the person to do research, and if they don't, then that's on them. But they don't even have to do much research to understand her workouts or where she's coming from or anything like that. So what are you talking about? So she's telling people like, hey, you got to also work on your diet. You have to be consistent. That's why her commenters are saying it takes consistency, because she mentions this. So when she says it like that, she doesn't have to give you all the information of how to be consistent or why, because you are a human being who has access to the internet if you're watching her videos, which means that you can do the research yourself. She's giving you the prompt so that you know, hey, if you're not doing this thing, you're not going to see true and lasting results. That is like literally a catchphrase of hers. You want to see true and lasting results? Do such and such and such. So I'm jumping ahead of myself because FrumpyFit brings this up later, but it is on the viewer to look into that information themselves. Joe is not supposed to be a teacher and supposed to cater to all these different people's specific needs for working out. That takes too much time, and I'm gonna stop here before I get way too far ahead of myself and just go back to this video, because all that stuff are things that she's not considering right now that she should be.
Big red flag for these thumbnails and the clickbaitiness of it is that I see lots of claims of calories burnt. So I see 3 mile low impact hit dance party, 600 calories. Cardio kickboxing, 380 calories. Cardio kickboxing, 560 calories. So there's multiple problems with making claims about how many calories someone is going to burn. The amount of calories that somebody burns is impacted by a lot of different things. Partially their current body weight. That makes a big difference. Someone who has a larger body is going to burn more.
Just for the record, I just want you to see her, how she talks. Just gonna mute it real quick. Just look at her face. What is charismatic about this face? Like, what is gonna make you interested and positive about your outlook on weight and your health when someone's talking like this? You get my point? Like, this is someone who's speaking a very aggressive way. It's not the same thing. This is why people aren't that interested in her content as they are in Joe's. Because with Joe, it's uplifting. It makes people feel like, wow, I can do this. This isn't gonna plague me. This isn't gonna discourage me. Like, this is possible. Maybe these things are true. And I just wanna tell you right now, anyone who's subscribed to me knows that I am not positive by any means. I hate positivity with a burning passion, because the vast majority of positivity is actually toxic positivity. So I really hate it. And that means that if I'm defending someone who's positive, that means that you've really done something wrong, okay? I mean, come on.
Big red flag for these thumbnails and the clickbaitiness of it is that I see lots of claims of calories burnt. So I see 3 mile low impact hit dance party, 600 calories. Cardio kickboxing, 380 calories. Cardio kickboxing, 560 calories. So there's multiple problems with making claims about how many calories someone is going to burn. The amount of calories that somebody burns is impacted by a lot of different things. Partially their current body weight. That makes a big difference. Someone who has a larger body, I've seen her in videos, I think it's on my TikTok feed, look at her watch and say, I burned this many calories. These are not that accurate. So basing these workouts off of a reading that she may have gotten from some sort of fitness wearable device is also a little bit misleading.
Oh, okay. Since you want to talk about the whole calorie thing, let's see if she addressed that. GrowWithJo, calorie. Let me put story. GrowWithJo's story, calorie, information. I don't know. Okay, well, hers pops up first, so great for that. Easy calorie calculator to lose weight. Overcoming insecurities, my story, and what I eat in a day to lose weight. So I'm going to click this one, since this is seeming the most accurate to the whole calorie discussion.
Today we are going to be talking about calories. How many calories do you need to reach your goal? Calorie is a unit of energy. What do I mean by that? A unit of energy. So If you are exercising, for example, sometimes in my videos, I give you a calorie value. So that's how much energy that you are using to do this workout. And I give this calorie value as a reference so that you kind of know like, okay, this is 100 calories. Okay, this is how much energy I'm going to be using to do this workout. Or this is 800 calories. This is going to be a lot more energy. On the other hand, calorie is also how much you consume. So if you're looking at a nutrition label, for example, a slice of bread, it's going to say about 70 to 80 calories. This is how much energy you're consuming and giving your body. One thing to know, it's very important, you do not want to take the calories that you have exercised, the energy that you've put out, and be like, okay, I burned 200 calories today. Okay, I can have 200 extra calories today because that's the amount of calories that I burned. It doesn't necessarily work like that for a couple of reasons. One being, calories aren't always, especially calorie trackers, they aren't always 100% accurate. Most of them aren't 100% accurate. None of them are 100% accurate, but it is a good unit to, know how much energy you're going to be exerting for the workout.
All right, so I'm going to link this video in the description too. You can watch it. For one, this was put out September 30th, 2021. It's got 800,000 views, basically. When she talks about this, it's right at the beginning. Understand that there's the intro right here, and then she immediately goes into what is a calorie, and she explains it in about a minute and a half. And during that explanation, let's do the same thing here, just not for as long. Just look at how she talks. So she's explaining the same type of information and how it doesn't necessarily work that way. And she's way more like relaxed, inviting, just friendlier. And you can actually attach the word uplifting to the way that she's carrying herself. It makes you feel like, okay, calories don't work the way I thought that they did, but it's not the end of the world. That's the gist of what you're getting when you look at how she's talking. It's like this woman is like saying, oh my God, like people are getting misled. They're not subscribing to her, following her because they're being misled into believing things. It's because she's just better at doing what you're trying to do.
Because we really can't trust these at all. I talk about it more in depth in this.
And there she goes again. She's like, well, I talk about it here. Let me just plug myself again while I expose this woman and try to sing things about her in an exaggerative way.
Video. But I think labeling a workout with a certain number of calories, if somebody is tracking their calories and adding that into their equation, they may, which I never recommend doing this, I talk about it more in that video, where you look at how many calories you can eat that day, and as you're exercising, you're like, oh, I burned this many calories. If my calorie deficit is bigger than I initially was aiming for, that means I can eat more. Well, if you're basing that off of the calories somebody else burnt, not you specifically, or you're basing it...
Why would they not have the wrist thing themselves? Like... Because they're not going to do the workouts just like if you look at her videos, she says at the beginning, if the exercises are too challenging for you, then just walk on the spot. That already tells your common sense brain, because people aren't as stupid as she's making it seem like they are, that they're not going to be doing the exercises exactly like her. They might even skip some of the exercises or do them slower or faster. It depends. Or for longer, they might have to slow it down to be able to keep up with her. So they already know they're not going to burn the same calories as her since they're not moving exactly like her. Especially, it doesn't matter how fit you are. If it's your first time doing the workout, you're not going to know the moves beforehand. You have to learn them as she's showing you, which means, again, you're going to be either moving more or less than she is. So you would have to factor that in. No one's going to look at that and say, I burned exactly 386 calories because that's what she burnt. Like, can you show someone who's doing that before you she's like, they might do this. What do you mean they might do it? That's not a critique.
Off of what your Fitbit is telling you burnt, you're setting yourself up to potentially be totally off on your calorie goals. So I hope that makes sense. And it's not to say that this person's content is bad. It's just things that I want people to understand when they're going into this.
But you said she's misleading, which means it's dangerous. Like, do you not know what words mean? I didn't have to look up the definition to know that. When someone says that something is misleading, what they're thinking of is that whatever it is that is misleading is a detriment to the people that it affects. That's it. Okay? Nobody thinks that if somebody says, oh my God, there's like a droplet of rain on the sidewalk, and then I saw another droplet of rain like 10 minutes later, that's a red flag.
Now, she started popping up on my TikTok For You page, and I immediately saw red flags. Then I went to her YouTube channel, more red flags.
Anyone who you say that to would look at you and be like, what are you talking? Like, red flag for what? They start to get a little bit scared. Like, what? You think it's going to be a thunderstorm? They're like, no, it just might be a drizzle. I'm not saying it's going to be this big storm or like a tsunami or anything. I'm just saying it might be like a tiny little drizzle. Or there might not be any rain at all because sometimes a couple of drops fall and nothing happens. Well, then why'd you call it a red flag? Jesus Christ.
so that they know what to expect. They know what results they should be getting from these workouts. They know what they want to be getting out of them.
They just want to see results. They don't want to know the technical results. They're not obsessed with it. That's going to drive them away from working out.
Totally just thought of the other one. I made this whole video like however many weeks ago about how our body will adapt to exercise.
She just plugged herself again. I'm just going to move on to her other point because you get the point. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't get plugging herself again. She's like, I also talked about this. This whole video, she's just like, I talked about this. And I talked about that. And I guarantee you those videos are not getting the type of reaction and the type of views that Joe's videos are getting. So here's this part that annoyed me. So I'm going to play it here and just go from there because she's about to talk about something that's important.
Not bad. Again, there were some things that were missing context. Like she said that if your body is stressed out because you're saying negative things to it, like, I hate you, you're ugly, blah, 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 then you're not going to be able to lose fat because when you're stressed out, your body like stops all fat loss, which is not true. But am I mad at...
I'm going to go see exactly how she said it because I don't trust this lady at all. She's not even how are you going to play clips of like well-shot people doing exercises, but you can't play the clip of what Joe is saying? Like, you can't even get the direct quote. If you can't play her video for whatever reason, I'm gonna try to show her content and see if I get flagged or something for it. And if I don't, that means she definitely could have done it because she has a bigger platform than me. But even if that's not the case, like, even if she can't show it, just show the quote. Holy crap. All right, so I got to the clip. It's right at the beginning. Again, it's 1 minute and 29 seconds in, and she's about to say it. So just listen to the way that she phrases it, because this is insane.
And reward yourself for the efforts that you're putting in every day. Your body hears everything that goes through your brain. If you're telling yourself, oh my gosh, I look like shit. Oh my gosh, I wish I looked like this, damn. If you're always talking about yourself that way in your head, your body is gonna feel it and it's just gonna react and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna like chill out and be how I am. It's actually a scientific thing. Your body, when you get stressed out about certain things, your body just stops all fat loss mechanisms and is like, nah, we're gonna focus on preserving ourselves. We're not gonna lose fat.
Like, I can't believe I actually have to do this. All right, so you see this screen. So do you notice anything familiar about this screen? Anything at all? This is a screen where she is saying, well, it reduces the ability. She said that your body's like, nope. Now that can mean all sorts of things because, you know, she's using words like, and it's kind of like, so obviously she's speaking in a metaphorical way, but she still corrects herself and says, well, it reduces the ability. But it must be a crime to not just re-record the text that's on the screen. Is that what you're insinuating, that she should have re-recorded it? Because did you not remember what you just did a few minutes ago?
You could add muscle size or muscle tone to that area that might help change the appearance.
Oh, well, that was a very quick little thing there, but
that you could add muscle size or muscle tone.
Tone, quote unquote. Toning technically doesn't exist. That to me looks like a correction to what you just said, which is the same thing Joe did, except with you only corrected yourself for let's count.
And there's not a lot that you can do to change that. You could add muscle size or muscle tone to that area that might help change the...
Not even 3 seconds, okay? Meanwhile, Joe corrects herself.
When you get stressed out about certain things, your body just stops all fat loss mechanisms and is like, nah, we're gonna focus on preserving ourselves. We're not gonna lose fat. So first things...
For just under 9 seconds. And yours was under 3 seconds. So she actually puts it up there long enough for someone to actually read the information. Meanwhile, you're just like, it technically doesn't exist, but I'm not gonna let you see that for long because I don't really want to be wrong. The hell? Like, this is ridiculous. And this is why people said her video is misleading, because it is. So let's go back to 8:25 where we left off to get to the more infuriating stuff, because it gets worse from here.
The result of that advice being people aiming for a reduction in stress? No. Am I mad that she's getting all fat loss, which is not true, but am I mad at
just look at real quick, just look at her talking. Just look. Like, it's just so aggressive. I just find it funny that she has no idea why Joe's content is growing so exponentially. Again, this is coming from someone who hates positivity, but I still understand how it works. Like, Jesus. And again, you just saw how Joe relayed the information, so this is how she summed it up.
Again, there were some things that were missing context. Like she said, that if your body is stressed out because you're saying negative things to it, like, I hate you, you're ugly, blah, 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 then you're not going to be able to lose fat because when you're stressed out, your body like stops all fat loss, which is not true. But am I mad at the result of that advice being people aiming for a reduction in stress? No. Am I mad that she's getting tons of people to exercise and be motivated? No.
Yes. Like, nobody brought that up but her. That means that it's in her head. Like, this is something that people miss a lot of times. But if you brought it up, you're thinking about it. So somewhere in there, that's how you feel. Tell me what you are mad about instead of what you aren't mad about. Tell me why you made this video, why you had to make it this way. But she's not going to do that because she's never going to see herself making this video in a bad way, in an aggressive way, in a hypocritical way, or in a way that lacks accurate information, like, you know, directly quoting the woman that you're criticizing and exposing to hundreds of thousands of people.
And so it just brings me to this like dilemma that I have, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, of like, is this okay? Is she actually doing anything problematic?
Well, if you don't know, maybe you shouldn't make an exposure video on it until you figure it out. Maybe, just like with that anonymous person whose name you didn't mention.
I told myself I would never talk about this specific thing because I wanted to keep it private between me and this other creator, but I think it's fine if I share it without sharing her name. I had a Zoom call.
Why not do a video on Joe without mentioning her name? Why not just say there's this influencer who's like helping people, but she's making this like these misleading thumbnails from 3 years ago, some 2 and even a year ago. But when I saw those, I'm like, those are some of her most popular videos. So yeah, she changed, but they're still out there. Is that really okay? I don't know yet. Like, maybe make that video. Do that.
And we've had this whole entire discussion about Chloe Ting. And the Chloe Ting fans came for me, painted me.
So she's bringing this up because she's like, I can already see it coming that they're gonna come for me. And they did come for you, and they had every right. I don't know about your Chloe Ting video, and I'm not here to talk about Chloe Ting. You shouldn't be either, because this is called GrowWithJo is misleading you, not Chloe Ting is misleading you. But here you go on your tangent, even though you could have cut it out, because this literally is the last thing you need to equate Joe to, is a whole other influencer who has a whole other format, with a whole other audience, with different reactions.
Painted me as the most horrible human being on the planet for daring to say anything critical of Chloe Ting.
I don't even trust her on that, and I'm not even gonna waste my time to look that up and read her comments. You can go do it yourself. It's not worth it. I'm just saying that if this was a court case, her testimony would be thrown out by now because she's already contradicted herself multiple times. So it's just like, I don't care how they reacted. It probably wasn't as bad as you said. I don't think they think you're the worst person on the planet or whatever. I think that they think you were out of your mind to be so upset about something that's helping people.
I don't know what she's doing these days, but how to get abs in 2 weeks or get abs in 2 weeks or whatever. And in the Chloe Ting specific.
And Joe doesn't have any videos like that. She didn't say, oh, in 2 weeks you'll have abs. She says, do this every day and you'll get XYZ. So why are you bringing this up?
Area. I have spoken to people both online and in person. I know people personally who did Chloe Ting's workouts expecting to get a specific result that they did not get because they were misled by the title and the thumbnail.
Okay, but did you talk to anybody who had that feeling towards Joe? Because if you didn't, then what's the concern with Joe?
And so the argument that I've been hearing from people, both then and probably now with this GrowWithJo person.
And probably now means that she isn't even listening to people's arguments. She's just assuming, but she calls herself critical.
And so the argument that I've been hearing from people, both then and probably now with this GrowWithJo person, is, oh, it's obvious that you're not going to get abs in 2 weeks. Like, okay, that's fine. I think, like, specifically the person I talked to most recently, like, this was literally a month ago. So this is still a thing, even though I made that video like over 2 years ago about Chloe Ting. She took before and after photos of her stomach, wanting to see how much progress she would get on her stomach specifically from these Chloe Ting workouts. And she was incredibly disappointed with the results. And I think that this idea, like, I'm all for consumers of content to be responsible for the content they're consuming.
Like, understand that the whole reason why I'm bringing up how bullshit this section is that she literally calls this the Chloe Ting section, right? So she's making it seem like it's about Chloe Ting. But the first thing that she tried to explain it by is her saying, well, I'm honestly wondering, I don't know if this is okay. Like, this section should be titled, like, why am I doing this? Why am I so concerned about this? You get my point? But the reason behind why she's so concerned is centered around Chloe Ting. So your whole reason for making this video is because you're concerned about how dangerous clickbait is because of what Chloe Ting did. Like, that's what you just said.
Consuming and like doing a little bit of due diligence on their own to know that maybe this stuff is their consumer idea. Like, I'm all for consumers of content to be responsible for the content they're consuming and like doing a little bit of due diligence on their own to know that maybe this stuff is misleading. But I also don't agree with the idea that like it's all on the consumer, that like you're stupid if you don't realize that you're not going to be able to get these
Who's saying that? She's just making it up. Just making it up. Like, who the said you're stupid if you can't tell that it's clickbait? And first of all, for the record, this is absolutism. I keep telling you guys, like, the average person just invokes absolutism with their opinions to everything. It's either all this thing or all the other thing. So it's like, people are not saying, oh, you're just stupid completely if you fall for clickbait. No, the idea is your first day on the internet, you'll fall for some clickbait. Then you start to realize, oh, everybody clickbaits, and you get over it. Like, that's what everybody does. And you'll do it too, just like how you did it in your thumbnail, because that's what you have to do to get people to see your videos, for it to catch their eye. Like, what the hell? That's why you put 2 question marks next to the word truth, because one just wasn't enough.
Specific results from Chloe Ting. And in her case in particular, Chloe Ting makes all these videos reacting to people's results that they get that just reinforce.
Why not talk about how Joe reacts to people who get results? You want to know why she's not talking about it? Because when Joe reacts to people getting results, they actually have done it over 6 months, over 2 weeks. You know, realistic, actual results where they're documenting their progress, and everyone in the comments is like, wow, it worked for me too. That's why she's not going to show it.
The unrealistic expectations that people have from these workouts. This is not a video about Chloe Ting though. I told myself I would never talk about this specific thing because I wanted to keep it private between me and this other creator, but I think it's fine if I share it without sharing her name. I had a Zoom call. It happened months ago. I did a private Zoom call with a YouTuber who has significantly more subscribers than I do, who posts this type of content.
She always is bringing up the subs. I'm telling you, like, she sees them as her competition. I mean, this is literally her business. So they're outdoing her. It can't not be on your mind. Like, anybody who's trying to work on something and they see somebody working on the same thing and they're more successful is thinking about it. Come on.
The thumbnails and the titles.
But it's about what you do with that thought that represents who you are as a person. And what you're showing to the world is that you cannot think critically because you were too obsessed over the success of people who aren't working as hard as you in your eyes and being as accurate as you are in your eyes.
Very misleading, talking about spot reduction type things, talking about losing X amount of weight in X amount of time, the stuff that gets views. Like, their channel performs well, but I don't like their content. I've watched one of their videos at first and then more because I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I was like, again, the content itself was not that bad, but it just leaves people with these unrealistic expectations for what they can achieve with their weight loss.
But does it though? Because again, this is a video about Joe, and not a single person from those comments I was showing you and any that I'm showing you throughout this video, if I decide to put them in, no one is saying, you know, I expected to lose all this weight and it didn't happen. Like, the vast majority of people are saying, I have actually tried her workouts. They're not even people just supporting her for no reason. They've tried it and it helps. And they know what to expect because people have done her workouts and documented it and told them the results that they got from it. Like, Jesus.
And a huge argument from the Chloe Ting people were that, she's addressed this. She's told us in this one specific video that she posted like 5 weeks ago or whenever it was, that she titles her videos and makes thumbnails to get views because she's a creator. We're all victims to the algorithm. Like, we all know that, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. That's cool. I'm happy that she addressed that. But you can't expect everybody who watches all these other videos to have watched that other video.
So what do you want people to do then? You mean to tell me that in her video, she's supposed to bring up all this information every time? You know how boring of a fucking video that'll be? I forgot to mention this, so I'm just going to say it here. FrumpyFit just has this very fixated, obsessive mindset. I'll get into that some other time. But Joe has already mentioned this in multiple videos extensively, which means that she has educated her audience on how these things actually work. She then references those explanations by constantly reminding her audience of it with the phrase, be consistent. true and lasting results. And so when someone new comes along and comments stuff that's inaccurate, her audience will then inform them. You can look through her comment sections and people, even the comments I showed you, mention the word consistency. They say, you know, nothing happens overnight, stuff like that, because they are informed. So you don't have to put it in every single video. So not only is posting stuff in the description something that is quite literally readily available, since earlier she said it wasn't, but even if you don't post it in the description, you don't have to, because when you build a community, just like Joe is obviously doing, they will inform people for you. It's not Joe's fault that your community doesn't inform people in a positive and uplifting way, I guess. I don't know what you're missing aside from that being the reason why you don't understand. The audience will do the work for you. And how nobody's going to want to watch that. You don't understand the mindset of somebody who is unmotivated to work on their health. If you don't want to work on your health, and again, this isn't, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a mom, you could be a teenager, you could be skinny, you could be fat, you could be tall, short, whatever. If you are not in shape and you have not been working out for God knows how many years, and you have no motivation, you need dopamine. Wow, I can do that for 5 minutes and lose some weight if I do that every day? I'm gonna try that. They don't care what the information is about. As long as it's doable, they're like, well, I want to try that. Now, again, in the wrong hands, that's a dangerous thing. But for you to imply that it's in the wrong hands with Joe is a problem. I understand that she said, well, yeah, it did help people in the end, but you are insinuating that it's in the wrong hands with her because you made a whole exposure video about it. So you can't just walk it away with some, I still think that it was okay in the end, but still I'm confused. You can't do that. You can't play dumb here. So for people to get that hit of dopamine and try it out is what they need. If you start off your 10-minute workout with 10 fucking minutes of explanation, or even just an extra 2-3 minutes, whatever, for people to see that the workout is supposed to be X amount of time, but they have to slog through you talking, they're gonna probably skip it. They don't want to hear it, and they're gonna be annoyed if they're watching your videos like back to back to work out, like trying different ones every day, and they keep hearing you explain the same thing. They're like, shut up. Like, Jesus, I'm not even going to explain any further because you should get it by now. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you.
To know that that's the case. And of course, I've also heard that she has the disclaimer in the description, blah, blah, blah. It's not readily available. It's not clear.
How is it not readily available when it's in the description? Like, what are you talking about? And it's not even that. Oh my God. Again, at the beginning of several of her videos, she says, you got to be consistent. You got to make sure your nutrition is on track. You need to, if you want to see true and lasting results, you got to be consistent. Like, what are you talking about?
And I think that's where the misleading thing happens. And so this Zoom call that I did with this creator, who I will leave unnamed, we talked. And she said that exact same thing. She said, well, I don't understand why people are confused because I addressed it in this video over here. And I told her, you can't expect everybody who watches your recent videos to have watched that one video. And if
it is on them to look it up. If you don't know what a word means, look it up. And you know, I never see anyone do that. It blows my mind. Like, I don't look up every single word that I don't understand because I get exhausted after a while, but I look up like 90% of the words that I don't know. You'll see me do it in a video. I'll be like, okay, hang on, let me look it up. The red flag thing, I already generally knew the definition, but I didn't know it verbatim, and I didn't want to be wrong when criticizing her for using the word, so I looked it up to make sure. Like, if you don't understand how calories work because you don't know what a calorie actually is, maybe look it up. If you don't understand what it means to burn fat, maybe look it up. And if you're not going to do that, then that's on you because it's not on this creator. All the things that she's doing, understand, she has to come out. She's putting in so much more work than this woman realizes. Like, in her head, she's like, I'm doing all this work to tell people all this information, you know? And I'm just thinking, is it really right for them to do the opposite of what I'm doing? She's not just misleading people. She is making workout routines that are short, easy to do, and actually meets the needs of her audience, like to a T, which means that she also is switching it up because people don't want to do the same workout every day. So all of her workouts are unique. They're to different songs. They're different amounts of time. Some people want to work out for hours. Some people want to work out for 10 minutes. Some 5 minutes. Some people want to do HIIT. Some people want to do low impact. Some people want to do intense stuff. Some people want to use weights. Some people don't have weights. So she has one for household items. Then people just want something fun. So she has dances. She has a little dance party. She has like mood boost stuff where it's just meant to make you feel better. Like she even said, opening up your body can help you feel more confident. So here's a workout centered around that.
Did you know that by just opening up your body, making your body big, you can tell your brain that you are confident, that you're strong, that you're resilient, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today.
Again, I told you, workouts where you're sitting down. She's trying to cover all these different things and upload regularly. So you have to think about what it takes in your head to make up routines like that and practice them or whatever, or be ready to do it, and then have to smile the whole way through when it honestly is intense, some of these routines. Like, but she does it anyway, because if you can't be happy while doing it, it can also help you to see somebody who's doing that, like motivating you, because a lot of people need motivation and need to be told this is okay. Or as Joe said in this video,
This 30-minute super sweaty cardio workout is gonna work you until you feel like you can't anymore. But I know you can do it. I know you will push through. You will push that voice out that says you can't do it, and you will continue to remind yourself throughout this workout, I can, I can, I can. If any of the exercises are too challenging, it's totally fine for you to just walk on the spot or jog on the spot. I'm so proud of you for coming this far, and let's crush this workout.
they need to be told stuff like that. They need to be uplifted to keep going. So it's just insane for you to expect for someone who's doing that and still informing people in the beginning, saying, make sure that you are consistent, make sure you're doing this and that. She's managing all this stuff, and you want her to then put at the beginning of all her videos, hey, here's this information that you need to know, all this stuff that's going to make you not want to watch the content and get healthy. The fact of the matter is that if you bore people out of working out, they will not get healthy. So this is one of those things where on the surface it doesn't look good, but underneath it's great because it has great results. And this is why I told you I hate toxic positivity, because people think that if it isn't the way that they want it to be, then it must be negative. Positivity doesn't always look the way that you want it to, but people don't understand morality, and they don't understand how to see the big picture. And that's what frustrates me the most about this. She's missing the big picture. One thing that she does that misleads people is that she'll take a catchy song, a very catchy song, and give you the worst workout to do. But at the beginning, she's like, this is going to be so much fun. It's just a blatant lie to your face. And the funny thing is, she has a TikTok that talks about a similar thing. But the reason why you keep coming back is because you want to hear the music and you want to have fun too. You don't feel good when you're doing it at all. You don't even understand how she's keeping that smile on her face. It's misleading as hell, but not in a way where you would actually attach the word misleading to it. She knows that there's no other way to get you to do that workout. If she tells you the truth at the beginning of the video and says, hey, we're gonna do some fun music to a very intense and stressful workout that's gonna burn the out of your legs and make you just want to quit and give up, but we're just going to do it anyway and hope that the music gets us through it, you're going to be like, no thanks, and you're just going to move on. Don't tell people about the danger that they have to face. If they have no choice but to face it to get to the other side, then don't tell them anything that's going to make them want to chicken out.
If that's how you're justifying using this strategy for getting views on your videos, you have to put out an video over
how
here.
You're justifying using this strategy to gain clicks on your videos? Like, what are you, like when people say the word justify, it's tied to you excusing doing a bad action. That's how you're gonna justify doing that? You mean helping people? Yeah, that's how I would justify helping a person. Mislead them into working on themselves. Yeah.
And I told her, you can't expect everybody who watches your recent videos to have watched that one video. And if that's how you're justifying using this strategy for getting views on your videos, you have to accept the fact that you are going to be misleading some people. And she had never even thought of that before. So it's hard to know also.
Yeah, and she was wrong to think that way because you were wrong to put that in her head. You are misleading people. Into what? You are not explaining that. Oh, into getting results that they didn't realize that they would have. Okay, but with Joe, they're actually getting the results that they thought they would have. So what is your point? You're not making a point. You can't take a point from Chloe and say they didn't get the result. But even though you'll get the result with Joe, they won't with Chloe, so Joe shouldn't have did that. What?
What's going on with these creators? Are they in the situation of this person that I spoke with where she didn't really understand that it wasn't actually that clear as she thought it was? Do they know and not care? Do they think the end justifies the means? Which I think...
Why would you even put any of that up for debate? That is so irresponsible, because you're putting possible labels over Joe's head that don't apply to her. Listen to what she said.
That clear as she thought it was? Do they know and not care?
Do they know and not care? Does Joe possibly know what she's doing and not care?
Do they think the end justifies the means?
Does she think the end justifies the means? People say that towards negative things with negative outputs. They're like, well, you did it because the ends justified the means, didn't it? If everybody's happy in the end, they're happy with the results, they're happy with the road that you took to get there, you wouldn't really call that justifying the means.
which I think could potentially be valid because
then why are you making this video and saying it's problematic?
like I said, the advice, especially in this video I watched from GrowWithJo, was not that bad. Like nothing that
Who the fuck calls something misleading that's not that bad? Like what? This is where I said she would admit it herself here.
The reason I didn't post the reaction is because I really didn't feel like there was anything groundbreaking about anything I had to say. It was like slight corrections on certain things and like...
And you still did it anyway. That's the funniest part. She's like, well, I'm not going to do the reaction. You want to know why she didn't do that reaction? Because it would have been obvious what she was doing. Remember at the beginning of her video, she said, I saw these red flags. She already had this idea of what it would be in the first place. So then she filmed herself reacting live because in her head, she's like, well, I know what it's going to be. And I'm going to react live to prove that I already saw it because this is a pattern. I recognized a pattern of behavior. And she was absolutely wrong. So she didn't post it, but she still wanted to do the video. That's why she said, I had all these thoughts in my head. It was just all these thoughts.
Because it's just brewing in my brain and I have a lot to say.
And so she decided, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. But now that I have time to think on it and craft the story that I still want to craft, I'm gonna put it up.
Anything I had to say, it was like slight corrections on certain things and like adding context, which I feel like a lot of my reaction videos are these days.
If it's really like all your other reactions, why didn't you put it up? That's misleading, okay?
Adding context, which I feel like a lot of my reaction videos are these days.
Let's get ready for the lampshading, okay?
I acknowledge that a lot of times I have a stick up my butt. Like, some people have said it to me. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of true. I tend to take everything...
And maybe then work on it. If you have a stick up your butt, that's a problem.
I acknowledge that a lot of times I have a stick up my butt. Like, some people have said it to me. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of true. I tend to take everything really seriously. I'm really hard on myself. Like, for example...
Who the fuck holds themselves accountable like that? Who says, I have this problem where I hold myself accountable? She couldn't do it. She couldn't be honest for a second.
For a while, I'm getting over it, thought it was misleading to take a screenshot of my facial expression from a different video and use it on a thumbnail of like this video, for example. We haven't made the thumbnail yet. I don't know what we're going to use. But I thought that was misleading to the point where it felt icky for me to do it.
Like, and even with the criticism she's given herself, that shows how paranoid she is about the subject in general, that she still isn't over what she would have done and didn't even do.
Does anybody care? I was like, well, they're going to see in the thumbnail that I'm wearing a yellow shirt, and then when they're watching the video, I'm wearing a black shirt, and like, that's misleading. So I'm starting to let some of that go. But I think like, there's definitely a difference between ethical clickbaiting and non-ethical clickbaiting.
Yeah, and Joe's clickbaiting is literally ethical clickbaiting because it resulted in people getting the help that they needed.
Ethical clickbaiting and non-ethical clickbaiting in the fitness industry specifically. I'm not going to speak for other types of videos, but I don't think that line is necessarily drawn clearly in the sand. I think it's a bit grayer and unclear.
But where's Joe's
like, for
line?
example, I think John Obesity does a really good job with ethical wrap your belly.
She's like, he's doing okay. What about Joe? I don't care about obese to bees.
That wasn't the case. And so GrowWithJo, Chloe Ting, all these different people fall more in the grayer area where...
You know that influencer who I said person after person expected to get a result that they didn't get from her? You know, Chloe Ting. And then I didn't say how anyone felt about doing Joe's workouts when the comments overwhelmingly will tell you that it actually worked out. I'm gonna lump them both together in the same category. But I'm not implying that Joe's has the same results as Chloe Ting or anything. I'm not doing that, no. You guys are, see, I'm not being misleading. You're just misunderstanding me, okay?
They make a video like how to reduce lower belly fat, and it's never explicitly addressed that nothing that you can do will actually target your lower belly fat.
Even though she addressed it. Like, what?
Specifically. So I apologize for not posting the reaction. I think some of you will be disappointed, but I feel like
So that means that you did want to post it. So are you going to sit here and say you have a stick up your butt and you didn't want to put it up because it was nitpicking? Or was it actually a good idea to pick up and you're actually sorry? I think that what she's trying to do is, oh no, I didn't choose not to do it because it was a bad idea. I'm actually going to apologize to my audience for not putting it up because I'm sure they would have liked it. Really? If you're sure they would have liked it, then why didn't you put that up instead of this? Tell me what about this video was worth doing instead of the nitpicky one? If the nitpicky one was something that you think they would want to see. Why not post both? More content for you since you clearly need it. Why not?
I still wanted to say something, and I feel like a lot of you may watch GrowWithJo's content and were curious what my opinion was on this creator, but I really want to hear...
She wanted to say something when Joe's videos are super short and it's mostly just her exercising.
And I feel like a lot of you may watch GrowWithJo's content and were curious what my opinion was on this creator.
Did you notice that? How she said...
Argument that I've been hearing from people, both then and probably now with this GrowWithJo person.
I've been hearing from people, both then and probably now with this GrowWithJo person.
She didn't say you were. She didn't show a comment saying, hey, like, what do you think about Joe? The fastest growing women's fitness community on YouTube. When you have someone that popular, if no one's asking you to do it, that's a red flag right there that you shouldn't be doing it.
So I apologize for not posting the reaction. I think some of you will be disappointed, but I feel like I still wanted to say something, and I feel like a lot of you may watch GrowWithJo's content and were curious what my opinion was on this creator, but I really want to hear from you guys. What do you think in terms of clickbaiting is crossing the line? What do you feel like is misleading? How much do you think and curious what my opinion was on this creator? But I really want to hear from you guys. What do you think in terms of clickbaiting is crossing the line?
I'm just starting a discussion. What do you guys think? If you want to really know what they think, again, why not remove Joe's name like you did that other person and just ask them? So that was her video, and I don't know how much of that I'm going to play. It might be all of it. This might be an hour-and-a-half video. I don't know. But regardless, I need to get into one more thing because it didn't end with her. So as you can see, this was up on September 28th, 2022. And it right now has 233,000 views. That's some of the most views that she's had from the videos I was clicking on. Like again, the best weight loss workout routine. If it's the best, how did it get less views than your freaking GrowWithJo exposed video? Like her other videos aren't even getting recommended on her own channel. Like my videos get recommended on mine. You're doing something wrong. It's you. So she made that video September 28th, 2022. And so her top comment is herself. She pinned her own and it says, watch my free masterclass, the one thing you need to achieve sustainable weight loss. Like, have you promoted yourself enough? Apparently not. So the first response she gets about the video says, how do you know she's clickbaiting people? I want to listen to you, but you seem to just be coming for her in a negative way as though to judge her character, because she was. I like GrowWithJo and I've had excellent results and I am 61 years old. Like that's crazy because it is really hard for older people to get in shape after they've spent so much time not being in shape. And this worked for her. And it says you probably get more subscribers and people to watch whatever it is you're promoting if you would stop trying to tear her down. Totally agree. She's only interested in using Joe to attract attention to her page. One of the oldest tricks in the world. Do better, Frumpy. You're clickbait. You know people will search Joe, then you can pop up with your stuff. FrumpyFit, I can't find your qualifications listed anywhere on your website or channel. Then there goes the rest of the comments I was telling you about already. And that was the kind of responses she got. And it would have ended there if it wasn't for this woman who made a video called, I hate YouTube. GrowWithJo is misleading you. Alright, so that's it for this video. We can talk about UnnaturalVegan's response in part 2. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you know who Joe is or how you feel about this whole dynamic between these people or why you think that they made these responses the way that they did about Joe. I don't know when I'll be putting up part 2, but you can always subscribe if you want to get the update when it's live. So thank you all for watching. With that being said, I'm out of here. See you all next time.